Okay, so originally this was actually gonna be a top 10 best boss fights in Devil May Cry video, but then I realized that would be too hard to make because I love a crap ton of the bosses in these games. And also my massive bias for DMC5 would not help. So instead we're gonna do a tier list with all of the bosses. I'm pretty sure that all of the bosses in the series are on this list. This is such a disorganized list, by the way. Alright, there we go, now we're a bit more organized. Let's get this list going. Let's kick it off with Phantom, considering he's the first boss in Devil May Cry 1. So you fight him twice, and in both fights you fight him and he's pretty similar. His moveset doesn't change that much. And his moveset is actually pretty good. I wouldn't say he's like a top tier boss because you just have to smack his head a bunch. And doing it with Ifrit makes it a lot easier if you charge it and Devil Trigger. But you do have to be a bit on the defensive because he could hit you, like you have to watch out for his fireballs. I'd say that he's a good introduction boss. Nilo Angelo, actually my favorite boss in the game. Especially Nilo 3, so you fight Nilo 3 times and his moveset actually expands with each time you fight him. In the first fight he just has his swords and teleports, and then when you get to the third fight he also uses summon swords and all that. I think his fights are awesome, and then after the third fight when you complete it, it also feels a bit sad considering you find out that he is Virgil. And overall I do like Nilo's moveset. Some of the moves mimic Dante's. And I also really like how you can defeat him by slash cancelling. Just cool, that's a nice little cheese tactic. Overall, I think this is the best boss in DMC1. Would I give it S tier? Yeah, I like Nilo. Nightmare! You see, I don't think Nightmare 1 and 2 are that bad. Nightmare 2 is probably the best one. Nightmare 3 is bad and the camera is awful, because Nightmare 3 just takes a punch, plus he also heals. So I think all around he's just a B. The first and second fight aren't too bad, but then the third fight is god awful. And I think I would give Griffin a B too, because I like his first and third fight, but I absolutely hate his second fight on the ghost ship. The camera is so bad on that fight, it's not even funny. All you really have to do with him is shoot him until he decides to land on the ground, and then hit him with the meteor move using Ifrit. Ifrit is just all around like the best weapon to use against bosses, except on Nilo. See, if it was just the first and third fight, it'd probably be like A, maybe top of B. But because his second fight is so bad, I think we're gonna just throw him into B tier. Mundus. I like Mundus. I know the first phase of the fight has like inverted controls and it feels kind of janky. But you know what? Once you learn how to dodge his attacks, it's not even that bad. His second phase is even better because it's literally in a fire pit where you have to avoid the volcano, and it's hard, don't get me wrong. But once you know how to do it, it's really fun. He's fun. He's not S tier, he's not Nilo level, but I'd put him in A tier. Right, Devil May Cry 2. Alright, so give me a second. Yep. And you know what? Bolvark's probably my favorite fight in the game, so I'll just put him in C tier. And then you're going in D tier. And then, okay, in fairness, the Desperate Embodied would probably also be C tier. Yeah, let's do that. Bolvark, right? I think Bolvark could have been a good boss if DMC2 was a better game, first of all. If those stupid wolves weren't... Bolvark had potential to be a good boss. But those stupid wolves piss me off. They did not be there. They're just there to steal your lock-on, man. They're so annoying. Alright, on to Devil May Cry 3. A much better selection of boss fights, if I say so myself. So, kicking it off with the Hell Vanguard, and saying I say much better selection, and I'm putting the first one into C tier. I'm only putting it because it's a good intro boss, don't get me wrong. But then the Hell Vanguard just becomes a normal enemy after that. A normal enemy you just encounter a bunch throughout the game. Cerberus. Cerberus is iconic. I love this boss fight. First of all, this is probably where the majority of players died, enough to get that easy mode is now selectable prompt. But also, he's just a really fun boss to fight. You have to take out the ice on his head, and then you can just sit in a corner and just spiral cancel until he dies. Or you can go hog wild. And the moveset this guy has too, it's really sick. Depending on what head he uses, he can drop icicles from the sky, he can charge at you, he can freeze the floor, etc. And overall, I consider this to be like the first true boss of Devil May Cry 3. I think this one might be pitched into S tier. Gigapede! This one is just really simple. Get on top of it, smack its head, it dies after a while, or you can also deflect its projectiles. Nothing too crazy, but you know what? You know what stops it being from put in C tier? The music absolutely rocks in this boss fight. I don't hear this team being talked about enough. Gameplay wise, it probably doesn't deserve it, but the music carries. Alright, next up we got Jester. He has 3 fights in the game, but you only have to fight him once. So you have to shoot him until he tires out, and then you just have to go hog wild on him with his sword. He does have a bunch of different abilities. He can like launch balls at you. Like if you fight him a second time, he gets on this ball and then he starts like jumping around the place. I think the Jester fights are just kind of unnecessary. Like they were added in with the special edition, and yes, Jester is one of the characters that appears a lot in Devil May Cry 3, but like you didn't need the boss fights. Like they're alright, they're not the greatest ever. Like it's cool, but I don't think it needs to be there. This might be a B tier. Agni and Rudra on the other hand, instant S tier. I love this boss fight so much. It's the only dual boss fight in the game where you have to fight 2 guys at the same time. And in the series, I mean, even. This boss fight is so cool. Like you have to be on your A game to parry them so that you can stun them. And then when you stun them, you get to dish out massive damage. Obviously, it's a bit of a high risk reward game because if you don't manage to parry, they don't get stunned and they get off big damage at you. And then obviously there's 2 of them. So even when you stun one, you still have to watch out for the other one. Sometimes when you're beating on one of them, when you stun them and the other tries to attack you, you like accidentally parry it and then the other one gets stunned. And that's really satisfying because then you get to beat on the 2 of them at the same time for a bit. It's really sick. I love this boss. Beowulf. I really also like Beowulf too. He's an easy boss to beat, you know. All you really have to do is smack him in the eye with Agni and Rudra until he dies. It's easy, but his moveset is for the most part really good. The only thing I really kind of don't like about this boss is the cages. I don't like, they're easy to dodge, but they feel like unnecessary. Like there's no cages on the ceiling. Like where's he dropping them from? Overall, this boss is A. Leviathan's Heart. Right, this boss. So you have the main heart, but then you have the things you have to beat on the side before you can get to it. You take out the health part of the sub thing, then you get to beat up the heart for a bit. It's probably one of the worst ones in the MC3. A bunch of standard enemies there that I just don't think they should be there. They just make things more annoying than anything else, and they should have just gave the heart more moves if anything. Overall, it's pretty mid. Nevan on the other hand, I love Nevan. Nevan is S tier. You have to take out her shield before you can damage, and you just dish out hits on her. But then once you finally do that, oh, it's really satisfying to beat her up. And then if you get a Devil Trigger explosion and see that health go down, it's really nice. And her moveset is really good. It's definitely one of the better movesets in the game. It's a good boss to like learn and stuff, because like depending on what voice line she says, that's the move she's gonna do. Like if she says get ready, she's always gonna do the twirl. So you have to like back away from that. So that's nice. It's a good boss to like practice your reflexes and like learn the boss. And then near the end, she's just gonna stop doing a lot of her moves and just try to kiss you. And that's pretty easy to solve too. Just jump in the air when she gets close and shoot her. And then once you get down, she's most likely gonna stop trying to kiss you so you can get a hit or 2 in. Overall, love this boss fight. Geryon. So I actually see a lot of people trash on this boss. And I beg to differ. I think this is the most underrated boss in the game. The start of it, you start off on a bridge and then you just have to shoot him and avoid his run until the bridge collapses. You can do that in the corner. Like the best way to do is spiral cancel to get off as much health as possible. When you get to the arena, that's when the boss really starts. He gets to mess with time. He like runs around throwing explosives at you, which you have to jump to avoid. He also has this like blue flame, which he can attack when he's staying and starting to charge. And then once you dodge that blue flame, then you can get some hits in. But if you attack for too long, he's gonna slow you down and then start charging, so you'll have to dodge. It's a really good boss in my opinion. It's really underrated. Lady, she runs away from you a lot. So the main thing you want to do is wait till she starts using Kalina Ann, and then that's when you dish out on her. In phase 2 of the boss, it's a little hard because she's gonna be using her mines more, but that's when you just try and find her up and shoot her down a bit, and then spiral cancel when you see her with Spiral and Ebony and Ivory. If phase 2 was a bit better and she wasn't hiding as much, it'd be better. Overall, I'd say she's better than Jester and Gigapede though. This one sucks. I can't even lie to you. All you have to do is hit the lights to turn them on, get him in the light, and then hit him. Like, once you turn on all the lights, he gets stunned for longer, and then you can dish out damage on him. He will like try to turn them off to make your life more annoying. Overall, I'd say this boss is just kind of a chore to get through. Every single one of these is S tier, and you can't even argue with me. And Vergil is top tier in every single one of its fights. His fights are amazing. They're very well made. His moveset is awesome. Like, you have to wait till he does certain attacks so that you can then attack him. For example, you can attack him while he's doing judgment cuts, but you can't do it too early or else you'll still get hit. Plus, after each fight, Vergil also unlocks some new abilities. For example, in Vergil 2, he starts using Beowulf, which is awesome. I just love all three of these fights. Arkham, on the other hand, this is such a bad boss. It's a blob, first of all. It's just a blob. He looks like he would be something that came out of DMC2. It's D tier. I'm sorry, I hate this boss. The stupid tentacles, the seal things. All you have to do is jump and smack him with Agni and Rudra till he dies. And then the second half of the fight is even worse because Vergil joins you, which, yeah, normally it would be cool, but it takes away your everything. Like, you can't use your style. He takes away your devil trigger, and half the time Vergil won't even hit the stupid boss, so you just have to do it yourself anyway. It's just a bad boss. Burial. Love Burial. I would pit Burial in A tier, I think. Burial is the first proper boss fight. I know you fight Dante in Mission 1, but this boss is fantastic. His moveset is great. He has the sword he can use. If you actually get behind him too, he can actually use his tail, which, I don't know if you know this, but he can actually try to whip you with his tail if you try attacking him from behind. And then there's also this one move where you have to like run away or else you will get caught in the blast radius. Overall, yeah, this boss is so good. Bale, or Bale and Dagon, whatever. I'd say it's good. I don't think I'd put them higher than B tier though. Funny story, one time I was playing this game and I was fighting Dagon as Dante, and then you know when they go like into hiding and then they whip out the demonic Splatoon characters, right? So I did that once. I was playing as Dante and they would just not go away. Like, I swear, I've been shooting them with Coyote A for like, I don't know, like 5 minutes. They would not go away. Like, I was slashing with Rebellion. They would not go away whatsoever. I do think this boss is good. He has a decent moveset where he can try to eat you, which if he does, he's gonna disappear again, or just take off a whole lot of health. You can escape it if you double trigger. He can drop icicles from the sky. It's a decent moveset, it's a decent boss. I wouldn't put it higher than B though, it's a fun one. The window. All you do here is beat on the window until it breaks. You avoid the demonic swords. You can also grab them and then throw them at the window. It's truly one of the bosses of all time. Yeah, Agnes. I like Agnes. So Agnes has a pretty cool moveset. He can like do like a charged explosion thing where if you don't hit him out of it in time, he will destroy you basically. He can grab you and then he can like use your health to heal himself, which I think is a cool move. Keeps you on your toes, have to avoid it. He can also summon some enemies to help him fight. Usually they're not troublesome. Usually you can just focus on Agnes and you'll be grand. Overall, I do like this boss, and the Buster animation on him, by the way, it is brutal. Nero is going on wild on him. Yeah, I'd say B tier. Sanctus, I'd put him at C tier, I think. His first fight isn't horrible. You smack him for a bit and then you get his shield off, you beat on him, you make sure you buster him. It's not bad. And then you can also, in the like second half of this fight, you can like buster the savior to like instantly knock his shield off. His second fight though is kind of annoying because you need to like get his shield off, and then once you do, you have to like make sure your like reflexes are correct, because sometimes you can't just knock him out to the ground. Sometimes you'll have to buster him because he's blocking with Devil Sword Sparta. And if you don't do that in time, he will just go back to his shield bubble, which is kind of annoying. When you buster him though, in the second fight, that's a really sick animation, because when he's on low health, he'll try to charge at you and you can like counter that with a buster, and it's really sick. I'm kind of conflicted actually, I don't know. I'll screw up and beat you. Speaking of the savior, this fight kinda sucks. And funny enough, I actually used to like this fight. It's one of those times where like it's fun the first time around, but then it's just kind of bad, because even so you can just like kill him in almost like an instant. You just have to wait till he like goes on like the main platform, if you know what I mean, and then you just have to distorted real impact him, and then if you're lucky enough he will stun and then fall off the ground, and then you just keep hitting with him with distorted real impact, and then he will eventually die. It's really easy. And the like first half of it before it even gets to the boss, that's kind of annoying because you just have to destroy all the crystals and he's gonna keep getting up before you get to destroy them all, unless you're like really fast. So yeah, not my favorite boss ever. Echidna though, I really like Echidna. A tier instant. Yeah, Echidna is pretty good. She is very vulnerable when she does a lot of her moves, like when she plants herself to the ground. You can easily dish out some damage on her. Then you do have to watch out because she will like summon vines to try and kill you, or like she'll do like a hair whip attack where you have to jump to avoid it. And then while she's also flying around the place, she could like charge at you. But if you like shoot it with like a charge shot with Nero, you can get some real easy style off of it. And then when she like plants herself in like this weird way where you can like hit her like, I guess, cocoon, I don't know. You can dish out some mighty damage there. You can buster it. You can buster her if you manage to get on top. Overall, I think this boss is really good. Speaking of good bosses, here is Kratos. And Kratos is an instant S tier. Objectively, he's the best boss in the game. He's kind of like the Virgil of this game. I know that Dante is a boss in this game, but Dante is Dante. He's got some sick attacks. He can like throw his javelins at you, which you can buster and throw back at him, and then you can get some extra hits in with that. Then kind of like Virgil, you can like punish him when he does certain strings. Like, and the best way to like punish him is, in my opinion anyway, hit him once and then buster him because he's vulnerable after an attack, and then you can buster him. Or hit him once, high roller, hit him a few times in the air and then buster him. And then he also has a shield which can block some of your attacks, so yeah, punishing is really the go-to here. Overall, yes, objectively he is the best boss in the game. But Dante is my favorite, and obviously this might just be a bias because Dante is my favorite character ever. It's scary what he can do. He can actually do something reminiscent of combos, like he can do like small things, like he can launch you into the air and then do like a small thing, like aerial rave a bit, and then into Helmbreaker. Like he can also like, if you try to like cheese it by shooting the gun and then trying to buster him when you get up close, he can like predict that. He can stinger you, Helmbreaker, etc. Dante is really smart. And then even if you try to snatch him, like when you're trying to jump and snatch him, he can like Helmbreaker you or something. So you have to dodge, and then after you dodge, you might be able to get a buster in. And then even if you try to buster him, sometimes he'll like counter it, and then it'll go into this animation, and then it's like a 50-50 chance if you'll hit the buster or not. And if you don't, he'll just cancel it out and then hit you, which is sick. Dante's AI is awesome. And what, that rounds up the MC4. Now we're on to the reboot. Alright, kicking it off with the Hunter, the tutorial boss fight. On the first playthrough, it's decent enough, but it's too easy when you do it after that, because you have Arbiter unlocked already, and then you can just do Trinity Smash him. This is basically how it goes after like on Dante Must Die or Son of Sparta, for example. You just jump cancel him until he gets stunned, then you Trinity Smash him once or twice so that he then falls on the ground, and then you continue Trinity smashing him or go into Trillion Stabs, and then that's really it. And then when he tries to back away, he will throw a projectile at you, which you can actually parry, which also knocks him to the ground, so you can continue Trinity smashing or Trillion stabbing. First time around, it's pretty good. Any time after that, I'd say it would be C tier. Bob Barbas. So I actually really like Bob Barbas. I'll put him in A tier. Bob actually has a pretty good moveset. He has a crap load of lasers. He has this one where you like, it's like a green field, and there's like a bunch of areas aren't like covered by the field, and those areas you like have to enter, like sometimes you have to jump. He also has like this purple laser which you can parry, which stuns him for like a second, meaning you get more time to go to the thing you have to smash to stun him. And then when you stun him, you just Trinity Smash him a bunch, because Trinity Smash is like the best move in the game. You get a little pause in between phases to fight a bunch of regular enemies, and then Bob also talks in the background about how Dino sucks, basically. So that's always good. And then it's rinse and repeat. Overall though, I really like Bob. Oh my god, this boss fight is so weird. No, it's just weird, okay? Okay, basically, oh god, Jesus Christ. I don't want to say hit the baby, but that's basically what we're doing here. A demon child, I guess. Hit the demon baby child and then you rip out Lilith from it, and then you beat on Lilith. So then she hides in the child. I don't know. And then you have to beat on the child more. It's weird. He can use like the sound bars to attack you, which is kind of cool, but it's such a weird boss. It's so weird. Right, Mundus is kind of disappointing. It's way too short. Like in the first phase of the fight, you just have to smack his arms, and then he'll just hit the ground with his arms, trying to like hit you. Sometimes he'll do a shockwave, but it's really easy. You just hit the arm, Trinity Smash, Drilling Styles, do whatever, and then after that, you have to hit his mouth a bunch, and it's so easy. It's such a disappointing boss fight. Is it Arkham bad though? I'd say it goes C tier. Succubus. No, this boss fight is truly a masterpiece in video game boss fights. It brought us some of the best dialogue in video game history. So like that automatically makes it S tier. Alright, next boss, Virgin. I'm just kidding, obviously this boss fight sucks. Alright, Virgin. On one hand, I think Virgin isn't too bad. I think he'd be a solid A tier. But on the other hand, the fight keeps getting interrupted by cutscenes. Like, alright Virgil, let's go. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. Land 3 hits. Oh, you're gonna pay for that, Dante. I will. I'm now gonna become stronger. And then you hit him another like few times. Another cutscene. I wouldn't mind if there's like 3 cutscenes, like one cutscene per phase, one where it introduces doppelganger, etc. Like that I wouldn't mind. But there's like 6 cutscenes throughout this whole boss fight. You can skip them all, yeah, but it still ruins the pace of the fight. Like and at least like 3 of them are utterly pointless. Like I swear some of them don't even have any dialogue. It's just Virgil turning around to Dante. I'd say it's not a bad boss overall. It's just the cutscenes kind of ruin it. B tier is alright, I think, yeah. Hollow Virgil. I think this is just a better version of Virgin. Those 2 boss fights are pretty similar, but overall I think this one is better purely because it doesn't get interrupted by cutscenes every 3 seconds. I kind of wish you got to do this fight as Dino. I don't know, it's just I find Virgin very boring to play in the reboot. I love playing Virgil in like DMC3, DMC4, DMC5. I don't know what it is, I just find him very boring in the reboot. Like he doesn't have a single directional input. It's literally I'll hold this and then do that, you know what I mean? I'm still gonna put it in A tier because it is an objectively better fight than Virgin. Right, Goliath. On to Devil May Cry 5 now, and this is where the bias kicks in because I am so biased for this game. And kicking it off, Goliath S tier. This is basically the true introduction boss, and it's a damn good one. I like how you change the stages during the boss. Like you start off on top of the rooftop, then you get inside the church, and then you fight outside of the church, which is awesome. The scenery changes are always appreciated, and Goliath's moveset is also really sick. Again, I know I'm biased for DMC5, but come on, we can all agree that Goliath is a great boss fight. So yeah, he can like suck up trash, and then he can also suck up you. That always sounds bad when I say it. And then you have to either devil trigger or breakaway to get out of it. He can also fire like big fireballs at you, and he can also charge at you because you're jump canceling him. He always like try to wave to like get you off. It's so funny. And then he also has a couple of hidden dialogue. He can complain about his balls if you hit him there too much, which is just funny. I love Goliath. Artemis is another banger in my opinion. I wouldn't say Artemis is as good as Goliath. I still really like Artemis. So Artemis over here is able to like, it has like these projectiles. It can shoot him like horizontally or vertically, and you'll have to dodge. And then Artemis can also like fly at you, which it's actually really easy to dodge. And then also lets out like these things where you have to shoot and then you can grapple onto them. And then it also has like this charge attack where she like starts screaming, and if you don't knock her out of it, she will destroy you. Artemis is just a really fun boss to lash on and dish out big boy damage. So yeah, overall, love Artemis. Qliphort Roots. Okay, I can't even deny it. This boss is not good. It's just a Qliphort root that looks like a brain, and you just beat on it. It can use like the tentacles to try and impale you, but that's really all it does. It also summons enemies, but they're useless. I know it's basically a tutorial boss. It's meant to be that, but it's not good. Cavalier Angelo, on the other hand, instant S tier. I love Cavalier Angelo. First of all, the particle effects on this boss are so good. Cavalier Angelo over here can like shoot little blasts, which are really easy to royal guard if you learn it. And then they can also do like lightning strikes at you. Good for royal guard practice. Man! Obviously it's also got sword slashes, which are really, if you parry it feels so satisfying right away. Also has a charge attack where Cavalier like powers up and then like teleports to you, tries to slash you again, royal guard. And what else is there to say? It's it's an incredible boss. The design of Cavalier is also really cool. Nigog. You know, I think this is the like one boss that I'm actually kind of glad you do as V, because this thing would be piss easy if you got to do it as Dante or Nero. Like it's hella easy when you do it as Virgil. So I'm glad that you can really only do this as V. Otherwise, it's clearly a boss designed for V. Like all you really have to do is use Griffin and Shadow to like kill the monster tentacles, and then that stuns Nidhogg, and then you beat on Nidhogg, and then just rinse and repeat. The tentacle things do come back to life if you don't kill them quick enough. Not really much to say. If this boss was done with Dante or Nero, I think it'd be like a C tier. But considering you do it as V, it's not so bad. Griffin, Shadow, and Nightmare. See, this is a bit of an odd one because you fight them all in the same mission, so I kind of count them all as one boss. I really only count Nightmare as a boss, so we'll just plop Shadow and Griffin into the same tier wherever we put Nightmare. And Nightmare is alright. I wouldn't say he's like the greatest of boss fights ever, but I'd say he's alright. I think I'd put him at a solid B tier. So what I like about this is that it's a full-on throwback to Devil May Cry 1. You fight Griffin and Shadow 3 times, and their movesets are basically reminiscent of what was in DMC1. I mean, you literally play as Griffin and Shadow when you play as V, basically, so like, you know. And I also love how their like respected themes are remixed in this game. Nightmare in DMC5 was done better than Nightmare in DMC1. You can also like take away health from his health bar to heal Griffin and Shadow, which is cool. Overall, solid boss. Not the best, not the worst though. Solid. Elder Geryon Knight. This is a boss that I do wish you could do as Dante or Nero, because it's fun as V, but I think it would be even better if you got to do it as Dante or Nero. Geryon's got a pretty interesting moveset. Here you can like also slow down time. He can charge at you. It's quite easy to dodge him. If he gets one of your familiars, if he kills Griffin Shadow, and you don't have Devil Trigger to revive them with Nightmare, then it gets pretty hard because you don't really have much to dodge with except a jump. Overall, yeah, B tier boss would be better if I got to do it as Dante. Gilgamesh, I'd say, is one of the worst ones in DMC5. It's really as simple as it gets. You hit his weak points so that you can grapple up top of him, and then you beat up on his like brain thing until it dies. That's about it. He's got like projectiles he can shoot at you. He's got spikes which he summons, but you can really just avoid those by jumping, because Nero's jump is really good in this game considering he can triple jump. Not much really to say about Gilgamesh over here. That's a really easy boss, you know. Environment is pretty cool too. He's like moving around, but he's really easy to beat too. So yeah. King Cerberus though, it's an S tier all day, every day. I love King Cerberus more than I love Cerberus. So the difference between King Cerberus and Cerberus is that King Cerberus gets to do 3 elements instead of just ice. He has fire, ice, and lightning, and whenever he switches between them, obviously they have different attacks. When he's in lightning mode, he can electrify the floor, making you jump, or when he's in ice mode, he's gonna like drop icicles on you, so you'll have to avoid them. And then he's gonna like create these ice walls, making you jump over them. And it's just sick, man. I really do love this boss fight. And the music to it, really great. And I also love how he mentions Burial and Bale. I like that. Really great boss. Love it. Malphas, another one I really love. I love the visual effects going on. He can like portals himself around, teleports himself around, like in specific something. He does specific body parts to like Malphas is a chicken. Like it teleports its leg to you and then tries to kick you like that. It's really funny. And then he's also gonna teleport himself and then like try and charge you, which is sick. And the goal is not to hit the chicken, but to hit Malphas on top of it, because that's gonna do more damage than just hitting the chicken. Malphas also has this one move where he's gonna sink deep into the ground, and then he's gonna try like, so you have to like shoot him out with charge shots or beat him up with Red Queen, so that doesn't happen. And he's also like gonna try to nab you like with his head, with his mouth, and it looks really funny. But yeah, overall I really love Malphas too. Alright, next up we have the Urizen fights. Urizen 1, so this is when he just sits on his chair with the crystal, and technically the fight ends when you break the crystal, except in the prologue mission where he just stays on the chair and you can rail on him. I like Urizen 1, but not as much as the other two. I like the moves. He can like shoot lasers at you from like his chair, but I think the other 2 phases are better. We'll put him in B tier. Urizen 2, A tier I'd say. He's now standing up and he's gonna be hitting you with his tentacles now. He's gonna be hitting you with his lasers. Well, he's been already hitting you with lasers, but more lasers, you know. I think this one is better because he can like move closer to you now and like actually hit you. But when you break his crystal and start lashing on him, it's really satisfying. I really like this fight. But Urizen 3, best one. No crystal, no nothing, it's just pure Dante versus Urizen. But yeah, no, this fight is really good. Again, my bias for DMC5 is showing. Urizen 3 is awesome. Like this time, like his moves really do change during the phases. You can actually just jump cancel him with Barlog and then just beat him like that. Well, quickly knock out the phases anyway. And then you can actually skip phase 2, which is awesome because phase 2 is the worst one. In this fight, his moves are a lot different. He's like spawning spikes from the ground and trying to like kick you and all that. And then you can also do a Red Hot Knight to damage him while he's switching phases. That's always sick. And then obviously the moves from the first 2 fights do return in some way, like the lasers and all that, they are back. That's cool. Like he's gonna be planting them not on the ground like he did in Urizen 2. Overall, yeah, I love this fight too. Dante, S tier. So Dante is a fight exclusive to when you play as Virgil. Instead of Virgil, you get to fight Dante. And he's really sick. You get to fight him in mission 19 and mission 20. And I really like Dante. Like Dante in his arsenal, when you fight him, has basically everything you have. Like he uses basically everything to his disposal. Okay, I'm trying to make a video here. But yeah, Dante uses everything to his disposal that you have. Obviously, it's scary when he switches to Royal Guard. I'm not exactly the greatest at fighting Dante because I play as Dante and Nero more than Virgil. But I still do really love this boss fight. And last but not least, we have Virgil from DMC5. And not only is it my favorite boss fight in the whole Devil May Cry series, DMC5 Virgil is my favorite boss fight in gaming. He is so much fun as both Dante or Nero. Like, it's so fun to Royal Guard him, it's so fun to lash on him when you stun him as Nero. You go from beating the living crap out of him, then he's stunned into a showdown charge shot and then buster him with a buster arm too to dish out more damage. It's so satisfying. Silver Bullet 2 playing in the background of Nero's fight is so good. The Jewel is also a great theme for the boss fight. Royal Guarding Virgil is so satisfying. I know I'm kind of just tip-topping between the 2 fights, by the way. Yeah, Royal Guarding him, hitting with, like, especially as Dante, hitting with them sweet combos is so satisfying. And then obviously, if you've seen some of my videos, you can just like destroy him with Red Hot Knight if you want. And then doing no damage fights with him too is always so fun. I love doing it. Then Virgil's moveset is also really well telegraphed. Like he's got the summon swords, which you can Royal Guard as Dante, and then like Table Hopper as Nero. He's obviously got his Rapid Slash, which after you Royal Guard / dodge it, you can punish him. So you can also punish him after obviously his basic combo. Like it's just like the best boss fight ever, like not only in DMC, in gaming, in my opinion. I love this fight so much. Well, we are done. We talked about every single DMC boss fight ever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.